She showed up with a clipboard like she was God's chosen zoning inspector. Only problem was this wasn't her kingdom. Well, I bought those 2 acres just outside Brookpine Gardens. It felt like I'd found my slice of freedom. No HOA breathing down my neck. No newsletter telling me when to trim my hedges or how beige my fence had to be. I had a detached garage, a carport, and a dream. A place to build, tinker, and work without anyone telling me what socket wrench violated community harmony. I'm a licensed contractor, specialized in smart infrastructure and solar arrays. My setup isn't some weekend handyman's toolkit. It's 6 figures worth of calibrated tech, diagnostics equipment, inverters, sensors, you name it. So I reinforced the garage, installed motion sensors, floodlights, and cameras, locked it down like Fort Knox. Paranoid? Maybe. But I've seen what happens when gear like that goes missing. And for the first few months, everything ran like a dream. I worked quietly, respectfully. Never before 8 a.m., never after 6. My nearest neighbors were retired folks or dog walkers who smiled and waved, and life was good. Until Gloria Campbell made her grand entrance. She showed up uninvited, didn't knock, didn't smile, just stood at the edge of my property like it was a crime scene. "You running a business here?" she snapped. I said, "Yeah, I own one." "This is a residential area," she hissed, like I'd personally offended the grass. I explained, politely at first, that my property wasn't under Brookpine jurisdiction, that I wasn't part of the HOA. I even offered to show her the deed. She wasn't interested in facts, just control. Next thing I know, she's showing up weekly. One time, with a pamphlet titled Protecting Neighborhood Harmony. Another time I asked if I could park my truck behind a privacy screen. Then came the letters, phony HOA citations about unauthorized commercial activity. I sent them all back. I wasn't under their rule. But Gloria wasn't about to let that stop her. Soon, people started acting different. My property showed up on some Facebook group. Photos of my driveway labeled industrial blight. Someone left a flyer in my mailbox comparing my garage to a meth lab. Gloria, it seemed, had declared psychological warfare. Still, I kept calm. I had my paperwork, permits, and cameras. I figured she'd eventually get bored and move on. I was wrong. I left town for 3 days to handle a job, solar array install for a lab upstate. I triple-checked every lock, armed the motion sensors, even asked my buddy Jack to keep an eye out. When I got back, the side gate was wide open. My camera? Painted over. My backup? Yanked off the wall and dumped in the dirt. I sprinted to the carport. Everything gone. Tools, rigs, cables, sensors cleaned out. On the empty table sat an envelope, weighed down with a brick. Inside was a letter, Brookpine Gardens HOA watermark, typed like it was official. Notice of abatement. Said they'd ceased unauthorized commercial operation and confiscated equipment. And someone had the nerve to handwrite, "You brought this on yourself." My hand shook, but I wasn't panicking. I was counting. Cameras disabled, locks broken, property stolen, and the HOA left a damn note like they were proud. I called the cops. Officer Rivas showed up, a young guy. Green, but not rude. I walked him through it, property lines, missing gear, paint on the cameras. He asked if anyone might hold a grudge. I said, "Gloria Campbell," and explained the whole ordeal. He raised an eyebrow, like he knew the name. "But you're not under her HOA." "Exactly," I said. "That's the point." Then, like she had a sixth sense for making things worse, Gloria pulled up in a black Escalade with 2 fake cops in tow. She walked up, all smug righteousness, and told the officer she'd intervene for the good of the neighborhood. Claimed my work was a threat, that she had every right to act. Rivas looked at her like she was nuts. I told him straight. She broke in and stole from me. That's felony theft. 2 days later, I got served. Cease and desist, courtesy of the HOA. Gloria had filed a formal complaint against me in county court, saying I was running an illegal industrial enterprise. The kicker? She accused me of domestic terrorism through rhetorical aggression, said I threatened to burn down the system. She was twisting everything. I told her at the mailbox that HOA power grabs were a broken system. That's it. No matches. No fire. So, I called Kendra, my lawyer. Sharp, fast-talking, no patience for bullies. I showed her everything. Photos, property lines, receipts. She didn't even blink. She faked jurisdiction to cover up a crime, she said. We're flipping the script. The next morning, we filed a civil suit. Unlawful entry, theft, defamation, vandalism, abuse of process. Kendra even filed to preserve their HOA security footage. Meanwhile, I took my complaint to the police and handed out printed copies of the suit to every neighbor bordering my lot. You deserve to know what's going on, I told them. A few looked embarrassed. One guy, Neil, a retired firefighter, just said, that woman's been hunting for a crusade ever since her husband left. You were just convenient. The search warrant came fast. County sheriffs met us outside the Brookpine Gardens HOA office, a prefab box with fake columns and an ego problem. Inside the basement, we found my tools. All of them, neatly stacked in tubs and boxes. Some even had donation labels, with my name forged at the bottom. One was misspelled. The footage? Oh, that footage was gold. Security cam hidden behind some ceiling tiles had caught it all. The night I left, Gloria showed up in an HOA van with two guys in polos. Bolt cutters, flashlights like pros. Loaded everything piece by piece while she barked orders. No confusion. No mistake. This was theft. Organized and deliberate. 2 days later, Gloria was arrested during an HOA meeting. In front of the whole board. She screamed, "This is harassment," as they cuffed her. The arrest photo, from megapixels of pure regret, now hangs above my workbench. But it didn't stop there. Her cronies rolled over fast. Marcus confessed. Tyler tried to deny it, until they showed him the eBay listings with my tools traced back to his IP. Gloria's crimes went federal. Guide fraude, interstate theft, forged documents. The HOA board turned on her like rats fleeing a sinking ship. We took it to civil court next. I sued her, personally, and the HOA as an entity. The judge listened to every word. Kendra tore through them like a buzzsaw. The defense tried to argue I'd given implied consent by not objecting harder. Yeah, no. The judge wasn't having it. After days of testimony, videos, receipts, forged signatures, the verdict came in $350,000 in damages. Plus, the court stripped the HOA's independent authority and placed it under a court-appointed trustee. Gloria? Recommended for maximum criminal sentencing. She didn't say a word, just sat there like cement under a rainstorm. A week later, she got 8 years. No appeal, no sympathy. Brookpine Gardens? Imploded. The newsletter died. The budget froze. Turns out Gloria used HOA funds for spa visits and catered brunches. I rebuilt my garage. New gear, smarter systems, and above my bench hangs her mugshot with the words, "Never again here." Do I regret it? Not for a second. I didn't start this war, but I finished it. And every time someone reaches out with their own HOA horror story, I tell them what I learned the hard way. Document everything. Speak up. Fight back. And maybe, just maybe, hang a sign on your fence that says what mine does. Private property. Tools are mine. Land is mine. HOA keeps out. Let me know what you think. Was justice served? Or did it go too far? Would you have fought back or walked away? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about where the line should be when power turns personal.